It's cherry blossom time in Japan. Japanese love their cherry blossoms so much, there's a custom named Hanami during this time of the year, where outdoor picnics underneath the sakura tree is a must. Welcome to Kaleidoscope, where we are positive, daring, different. Today on the show, we are understanding the complexities of Down syndrome, fueling female empowerment with an all-female fuel station, and we are creating fashion out of waste. Don't forget to subscribe, follow and like us. Kaleidoscope is on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram and LinkedIn. We have the most amazing partners on our show and they take us through week after week. Srilanka Life, CDB and the Daily Morning. Thank you.
CDB Hybrid Leasing. Enjoy exclusive interest rate and much more for hybrids, plug-in hybrids and EV vehicles.
Let's have a look at the week that was on CDB Snapshot. The numbers are in. Sri Lanka's economy grows by 4.5% in the fourth quarter of 2023 but ends the year with a 2.3% contraction. And with that, experts predict a GDP growth of 1.9% year-on-year in 2024. The ADB approves a loan of $100 million to support SMEs in Sri Lanka. Japan gives a 3.3 billion rupee grant to Sri Lanka. Italy fines TikTok $11 million for failing to control the spread of dangerous content. Australia's taxi drivers are making Uber pay $179 million for loss of income. 83 of the world's 100 cities with the worst air pollution are in India. 99 of them are in South Asia. The world's earliest lipstick has been found, a small stone vial with red lip colouring from 4,000 years ago.
You focus on your goals. We will take care of the risks. Srilanka Life.
Welcome to Srilanka Life News Capsule. The fuel station opposite Nine Wells Hospital in Kirimandala Mawatha is the very first fuel station in the country to have all its pumps manned by females. Under the umbrella of the Access Group, whose commitment is to uplift women and empower them, being a top priority, there is vision to go beyond the novelty of a women-only fuel station. It is about giving these women upliftment, confidence and financial independence. And for head pump attendant Berualage Nilmini and pump attendant Nilanthi Rupika, this job gives them independence, camaraderie and no issues about getting into a job perceived as male-oriented.
පිරිමියෙක් වගේම ඉතින් අපිටත් වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන්. තමන්ට හිතේ ශක්තිය ධෛර්යය තියෙනවා නම් ඕන දෙයක් කරන්න පුළුවන්. බැරිකමක් නැහැ. තමන්ගේ හිත තමයි කියන්නේ ඒක පුළුවන්ද බැයිද කියලා.
Nilmini had worked at a fuel station before, but for Nilanthi, who was a sportswoman, this is her first job.
ඇත්තටම මහත්තයා විතරක් ජොබ් එකක් කරලා දැන් කාලේ ජීවත් වෙන්න අමාරුයි ඇත්තටම. බබාලා දෙන ඉස්කෝලේ යනවා. ඉතින් ඒ හැමදේම කරගන්න ඕනේ නිසා තමයි මාත් ජොබ් එකක් කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා හිතුනේ. මම ඇවිල්ලා සති දෙකක් විතර පුහුණු වුණා. පුහුණු වෙලා තමයි මේ හැම මැෂින් එකක්ම දැන් වැඩ කරන්න පුළුවන් මට. පුහුණුවෙන් පස්සේ තමයි හරියටම වැඩ කරන්න පටන් ගත්තේ.
මේ ආයතනයේ ඇත්තටම හොඳ නිලධාරි මණ්ඩලයක් ඉන්නවා. සේවකයන් ගැන ඇත්තටම ඕන්ටත් වැඩිය එයාලා හොයලා බලනවා. අපි කෑවද, බිව්වද, හිටියද හැමදේම හොයලා බලනවා. ඒ අතින් නම් කිසිම අඩුවක් නැහැ. ඇත්තටම හරිම හොඳ මේ මැනේජ්මන්ට් එකක් අපි තියෙන්නේ. ඒ හින්දා අපි ඔක්කොම මෙතන ඉන්න කාන්තාව අපි ඔක්කොම හරිම සමගියෙන් අපි හොඳ ටීම් වර්ක් එකක් තියෙනවා මෙතන. අපි හරි සමගියෙන් වැඩ කරනවා.
කට්ටියත් එක්ක හැමදාම වගේ ඉතින් සන්තෝෂෙන් තමයි වැඩ කරන්නේ. විනෝදයෙන් වැඩ කරනවා. මේ ආයතනය අපිට ගොඩාක් ආයතනය අතින් පැත්තෙන් බැලුවොත් අපිට ගොඩාක් උදව් කරනවා. ඇත්තටම මේ හැම පැත්තෙන්ම අපිට හැම උදව්වක්ම දෙනවා මේ ආයතනයෙන්. ඒක නිසා අපිට ලොකු හයියක් මේක. අපිට අපේ ජොබ් රස්සාවේ හැටියට අපේ ඉවසීම තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඉවසීම තිබුණොත් වැඩ කරගන්න පුළුවන්.
And our markets this week. Positive news to report from the Colombo Stock Exchange. Over the last month, the all-share price index has moved up by an impressive 6%. Oil prices moved up to 87 US dollars per barrel, a 4-month high, on lower crude exports from Iraq and Saudi Arabia and signs of stronger demand and economic growth in China and the US. In overseas markets, the US dollar strengthened this week, leading to a slight correction in the price of gold, which at 2,157 US dollars per ounce is still close to its all-time highest price of 2,183 US dollars 2 weeks ago. You're all kidding me. The New York Botanical Gardens brought the catwalk to the conservatory and celebrated all things orchid with a stunning display of floral fashion. When you think Dubai, you think desert. One photographer reminds us that Dubai is home to much more, notably to some wonderful creepy crawlies. Today, the 21st of March, is World Down Syndrome Day, and this year the call is to end the stereotypes. Research shows that a person with Down syndrome is born with an extra, partial or whole copy of chromosome 21. The United Nations says the estimated incidences of Down syndrome is between 1 in 1,000 to 1 in 1,100 live births worldwide. And every year, approximately 3,000 to 5,000 children are born with it. And throughout the world, we see people with Down syndrome living life and loving life. Just like Theruni Thalgorapitia here, who is quite a leader at the Shirani Joseph Tisseram Foundation. Theruni, when you get up in the morning and from the time you go to sleep, what is a day like for you?
I get up at 8:30 and come to school. I do in admin and join workshop. After that, I win lunch, listen to songs, that's all.
What is the best thing about your job?
Best thing is workshop, giving ideas for Pravina and Janaki.
How does the family and the school support you?
Only my family very positive, like traveling, going holidays, relaxing.
Pravina Joseph Tisseram is the MD of the foundation, and what better way to find out more about Down syndrome than from her, given that she and her team work with people with Down syndrome day in and day out. Can you tell me a little bit about Down syndrome in Sri Lanka?
In Sri Lanka, there are specific challenges more to do with a lack of awareness about the condition and the difficulties families and people with Down syndrome face. Sri Lanka is obviously a very kind culture. That's something we take pride in. But when the awareness piece is missing, you don't know how to be kind, how to sort of imagine yourself in that family's shoes. That's where we feel there is a gap in Sri Lanka.
What have been your rewarding moments while working at the foundation?
We are focusing more on sort of the experience beyond school, so providing opportunities for the rest of their lives. And one of the loveliest moments is when they received their first stipend, they were able to go out, buy something for their mothers, their family, or just for themselves and bring it back and say, I bought this with my stipend. And it was just like fantastic. And then, of course, just working together, they have a feeling of, contributing to something that matters to them. Obviously, this is their institution, right? They are a part of them, and just the joy that brings, it's palpable.
What misconceptions are there about people with Down syndrome?
One of the biggest misconceptions is that they are all a homogeneous population with very limited ability. That is really not the case. Here you have seen people do all sorts of things. Varsha, she's like a tie-dye machine. She can get it done faster than probably I can or anybody else here. Theruni, she gives me tips on how I should run my life. Looking at a person with Down syndrome and just seeing that tag and not their potential is one of the misconceptions.
What kind of support do people with Down syndrome need from their families?
I think what they need is understanding that they have the potential to be independent and facilitating that process as much as possible. And, there are intrinsic abilities people are born with, but also a lot of where they reach eventually is to do with the stimulation that they receive, the opportunities they receive. We sometimes have people who come to us without having learned very many functional skills and they're already like 25. That makes it very difficult for us to set them on a path to independence, but they can earn wages, they can be independent, they can participate in many aspects of life that we participate in, and that is something that they need. They are really just like you and I. They have hopes, they have dreams, they have goals.
Is there enough done by corporates to include persons with Down syndrome into their teams?
We are in a really special moment in Sri Lanka because we do a lot of outreach to go and take our message about the abilities of people with intellectual disability, but we have also had people reach out to us, which is really exciting and really new. There are mandates from the top sometimes to include people with special needs, especially even include intellectual disability, and we are really excited to be able to actually show them how it can be done, because we've had some pilot projects that have been really successful, and we have a number of lessons learned and best practices that we can help people with if they're genuinely interested in making the investment in including people with intellectual disability.
What is your favorite part about working with persons with Down syndrome?
We have always found them to be a particularly joyful group of people. I love walking in here and being greeted by my friends, and I've known a lot of them since my mother founded this place, so I've grown up with some of my colleagues, and it's just a joyous place to be, and their attitude towards life is just one of happiness.
So here's hoping for more understanding. When the Andre Estefan label presented Yosei in a most magical setting a few weeks ago, designer Stefan Joachim created a mini revolution. 60 models broke barriers in this collection, which crafted fashion from waste, without making it look like waste, in a show that was just 20 minutes, the standard duration of international fashion shows. Yosei used waste from the depths of Panchkavata, for instance, which were translated into a world of celestial beings, given that Yosei in Japanese means fairy or bewitched spirit. But Yosei was more than fairies and goblins. It pushed Sri Lanka's fashion stakes to a different level. And let's find out why, from the designer himself, Stefan Joachim on Kaleidoscope's Life in 60.
So I've always been fascinated by this world of fairies and elves and goblins and whatnot. I just needed to bring it into the 21st century, so it was quite interesting. And also, since it did not happen in 2020, I had the whole of COVID and the next 4 years to really dwell into it and basically work on it and create bigger characters. So fashion needs to be creative primarily. I mean, that the whole objective is that, otherwise you're literally going into a shop and buying a blouse or a skirt, right? So seeing a blouse and a skirt on a runway is, to me, that's not fashion. You can call it, what you may, in terms of trying to, sell things, but nevertheless, it's always the diffusion of the creativity that's sold. It should be primarily the creative aspect first, that is then diffused down. So I would say that is the key thing. If you're not creative about it, then all you are is essentially just making clothes for sale.
Savor life's precious moments this weekend. We will see you next week.